Well, good afternoon once again. Are y'all enjoying the summer here in Texas? I got you. I feel you. Because the next few years or so, I might be eligible to live in one of this wonderful, great community, 55 and up. Okay, I'm 53 years old, so I'm two years shy. So you never know, my name is Gerard, and I'm Sheriff's Deputy with Fort Wayne County Sheriff's Office for the last 27.5 years. It's almost 28 years for me, and I think I'm getting to that point where I've enjoyed my career over the years, and I'm really thinking about retirement pretty soon. Because right now I'm really envious of you guys who live in this wonderful community. Have a seat, man. It's yours. You got your name on it. There you go. All right. So I've been approached by the HOA and a few members of your community. In fact, I've Mr. and Mrs. Owens. Please raise your hand. The couple that, yeah, there you go. So they were graduates of our Citizens Police Academy back several years ago in early 2012, 13 or 14, one of those deals. Okay. And it's great to see them again. It's really great to see them again. I don't know what youth fountain drink that they go into, but they're getting younger every year. So, well, hopefully I'll, if I stay here, I'll live here and inherit Gerard, I might inherit that as well, right? So, this afternoon we're going to talk about Neighborhood Watch. Now, Neighborhood Watch. Well, you've heard that before. How many of you, raise your hands if you've already heard of that program before in the past? All right, very good. Were you at one point active in that program? Okay, maybe a few of you, okay, a handful. Some of you came from a different community to Greater Houston, so therefore you already have experience with Neighborhood Watch. And here we are in Fort Wayne County, which is a pretty safe county, is it not? I believe so. Okay, this is not one of the community that I work with. I've worked heavily with Del Webb Sweetgrass. That's another 55 and up community. Okay, for the last almost 9 years, I've been working closely with them with this program, Neighborhood Watch, since they initiated it several years ago. And you know what the success rate for that? Could someone just yell?
100%.
Yeah, mediocre, bad, or very successful. Go ahead.
Very successful.
Oh, okay. Nobody contradicted that? Well, you know what? You guessed it right. You guessed it right. You know why? Because the recipe with the 55 and up community is that you have inherently a very nosy people. It really is. I mean, please don't take that as a negative connotation, all right? It is really a good, characteristic of this program. If the neighborhood is really concerned about their community, they'll do what it takes for everybody to keep it safe and keep it going, okay, for a long, long time. For Del Webb, they've been at it for well over 8.5 or close to 9 years. It's just because they never gave up. They tend to get me involved just about every week with them. Anything they want to know, everything they want to report, they always communicate with me. My goodness, my job is just getting a lot easier, especially with Del Webb. And the reason being is, that's a partnership between law enforcement and the community. That's what they're signing up for. If you ever pursue this program, all right, you're going to get the benefit of it. Number one, you get the first-hand intelligence information that you want to know before anybody else goes out on their social media platform and start putting out stuff out there that may not be verified. You know what I'm saying? There are things that's happening, okay, that some people just heard from another community and then they post it in your community platform where everybody gets to know what's going on, thinking it's actually happening in Heritage Grand. Has it ever happened? It happens in Delaware. The advantage of that is the fact that they can reach out to me and say, hey, Gerard, somebody said this on our social media, and everybody got so concerned. I said, look, I wasn't on duty on the weekend, so let me find out from our patrol supervisors, get the real facts, and I'll let you know right away as soon as I get the info. And that's when we turn around and then share that information. And everybody said, oh, so it happened in a different neighborhood. Yes, it didn't happen in your neighborhood. Okay, so you want to have a verifiable, legitimate information before it brings some, unexpected concern or, unwanted concern. You don't have to have your high blood pressure come up, right? Because it's not really happening in your immediate community. Now, I'll be told that you have some concern in your rec center about people not of your age that are trespassing. The good thing about your community, it is a private community because it's gated. Gated. That gate is there for a reason. It means you are not allowed unless you let them in. Okay? So that's the beauty of that, and it's so easy to enforce criminal trespass. Okay? Criminal trespass. So, when you have something like that, all you have to do is call the non-emergency number. If it's not a true emergency that is very suspicious and you want to verify it, you want us to investigate it, go ahead and call the non-emergency number. And I hope you have that number, don't you? 281-341-466. All right, that's a non-emergency number. But if it's a real emergency, what's the number to call? There you go. That's a real easy number to remember. All right. Yes, ma'am.
What was the number again, non-emergency?
Yes, ma'am. 281-341-4665.
And you do know our gates are open.
I know. I ran through it and I was like, there's nobody in the gate. Well, there's no security. Look, I just got here, please. Okay, I just got here, and if you decided as a community to pursue it, we're going to address, we can have an open discussion, and as a crime prevention officer, I do have ideas, and perhaps ideas from you that we can actually come together and maybe implement it together. How about that? Okay? But right now, we're just going to let you know that we have this program that we can actually share with you, and if you chose to do so, we can start, pretty soon if you want to. It's not going to take much because from what I heard from a very, very one of your residents during this one said that we don't have already a block captain program, correct? How many of you are members of that block captain program? Oh my goodness! This is incredible. It really is. That's 90% of what we need to get this program going. So I'm out of here. Now, for real, what we're going to do is just kind of give you, I'm going to go through this slide because I don't want to bore you to death, okay? But I just want to share you the reason why I mentioned Della, because this particular community has done a phenomenal job over the years. And you know what? When they reach out to me, prior to that, they had some burglaries left and right. They're not gated as you are. Okay? They're not. In fact, they just built, a few years back, they built a regular community that actually ruined the whole vibe of the 55 and up, because a lot of folks that live outskirts, which is Veranda, and they're using their road to get through the other side of another main thoroughfare in Richmond-Rosenberg area. They don't like that. But unfortunately, they are not a gated community like you are. Okay? So, but that did not actually discourage them to continue on with the program, because now they're actually more active, and Veranda decided, you know what? They're so active, they're so nosy, they report everything that we go through there. We're going to have our own too. All right? So Neighborhood Watch is actually between two neighborhoods. But in comparison, Del Webb has done a much better job than Argao. You know why? There's a big difference between the two communities. What's that? That's right. So the retired folks are mostly home, and the other ones are working people. Okay? They are working people. So we have more nosy neighbors in Del Webb. And to tell you what, they report everything. And we actually catch bad guys while they're reporting it. That's the beauty of it. I mean, when they come, when our deputy shows up, because we pay attention to them, and they show up and they catch them. Oh yeah, we catch them on act. We catch them. They discovered cars that have been dropped off and they stolen, for a joyride, and they recovered that vehicle because of one of our neighbors reported it as a suspicious vehicle. It's been there for 6 hours. We showed up and investigated it, and there you go. It was a recovered stolen vehicle from Harris County. Okay, and numerous incidents that happened over the years. And yet, they were able to maintain a low crime stats, very low. Here at Heritage Grant, I'll be honest with you, I haven't run the statistics, but I have a suspicion that it's pretty low, in my opinion. Okay, it's pretty low. If we work with the Constable Precinct 1 along with you guys and our deputies, you're probably going to be like Del Webb. Okay, you want to maintain, especially property crimes is the biggest thing here, folks. So trespassing is another. In fact, I'm dealing with trespassing issues, and we're doing everything we can to reduce that issues there. All right, so. History, we don't need to know the history, but it happened back in the 1960s in New York, all right, Queens, when there was a female was victimized late evening, and she was actually brutally assaulted in the neighborhood, but no one ever went out to look, to find out what's going on, but they heard the outcry, the cry for help, and no one ever cared to check it out. So that became a big thing in Queens, New York, and then, of course, the National Sheriff's Association in 1972, they decided, you know what, we can make a difference. Let's build a nationwide program. That's what happened then, okay? So, what's our objective? Is basically improve home security and secure personal property. All right? The second one is report suspicious activities to the local police department. In your case, the sheriff's office, non-emergency number, sheriff's office, between the sheriff's office and the constable's office will respond to any call related to Heritage Grant. Okay, so you have a mutual response from both agencies. Increase public awareness through education, which in fact, Mrs. Owens already told me that y'all responsibility as a block captain is to provide safety education to your residents, right? That is the key to success with this program. And I'm pretty sure you've done a lot of this already. So this is just how to get the ball rolling. And really, when you look at the pyramid of the structure of this program, the block captains and the members of the program are the most important role in this program. Okay, not so much of the safety committee, but we encourage it to have safety committee. Why? Because that's going to be the kind of like the managerial position or role that will oversee the program. All right, they can't. It is a collective effort and a collective knowledge that you might want to bring it up all the way to the chain in order to come up with the most practical safety approach to your neighborhood. Okay, it's not just a safety committee making decisions whatsoever. In fact, the members and the block captains has a lot to do with the program. All right. Many of you already know your neighbors, correct? If you know your neighbor front, across from you, next to you, and next to you, that's a good thing, right? But if you know all your neighbors in your block, that is even much better situation, okay? So if you already know your neighbors, you've already shared your information, we don't have to do a whole lot with this program, folks. You've already done most of it. Now, block captains and safety committee, okay? And sometimes section coordinators are voluntary. You are not compelled to, or, you're not compelled to do this job, to take this role, because really what it is, it's just voluntary. Now, most of you already have block captains. In order to become more organized, you'll have to have your section leaders, right? Or whatever, your designated structure in existence. Make it, work it out to whatever you already have. Don't make it a new thing, okay? That's what I'm saying. Don't reinvent the wheel, just build up from what you already have. From block captains, who's going to be next? Do you have a section social committee? Does anybody have that? If not, well, you might want to consider having a section coordinator if necessary, only if necessary. In fact, Gelweb decided to have a safety committee and all section coordinators. Every section to have their own, they have block captains. They don't have section coordinators. Okay? So what they did, they had more block captains and then their section, and their safety committee. They bypassed the section coordinator. So that's okay. You can do it whatever you want. There could be a few configurations. So it is up to you folks. Now, what does it take to run this program? 50% of your community members. Okay? How many residents do we have reported here in Heritage Grant? How many? Do you know? 1,500, 1,600, 2,000? How much?
1,200.
About 1,200? More or less? Okay.
650 homes there.
How many homes?
650.
Okay. It's large, right? It's fairly large. Now, 50%. Do we really ever in reality going to obtain a 50% participation? Do you think? Based on my experience, it never happens. Okay? But I truly believe, but I used to live by 50% and I just walk away because we don't even have 2% of residents show up at a meeting, and I just simply, sayonara, see you later, call me when it's 50%. You know what? I did that twice and I realized I will never let down a community ever again. Never. 50% is not what's required anymore in my book. We can start 1%, 2% of the community. We can start with what we have here, and we're going to go forward with it without hesitation. Are you with me? Because I've had a community when we started, Seven Meadows. Do you remember? You know what Seven Meadows off of Fry Road is? When we started, we had only about 5% showed up of the community. After 3 years, we were able to reach 60% participation from a very active neighborhood where people go to work, and yet they were able to achieve 60% participation. Is it not incredible? Especially for an active community. And also they won the best neighborhood watch in the state of Texas. All right? Something happened along the way. After 3 years, the whole program just dissipated. You know what really hurt it? Politics. Chrome Watch, signs are funded by the community. Okay? It's going to be up to you. Do you really need to have a Chrome Watch? I'm going to answer that for you folks. Do you see that stop sign at the intersection where you live? Do you really ever stop? Did it? Sorry, stop sign. Yes, sir.
Sure. signs indicating that we have crime watch is a good deterrent. Can the sheriff supply those?
Well, we do not supply those.
Why not?
It's just, it was never part of our budget.
Well, what if we were to...
So, okay, so I understand your point of view, and it's a valid point of view, sir.
Well, I know it's a deterrent from my past.
Right.
That's why.
Okay, so historically, I'm working with this program for several years now. I don't recall that I was given a budget to buy neighborhood watch signs for the community who wants to pursue it. It never happened, and let alone that I can't even keep up and partner to work with me. So, I'm going to tell you this. A sign is a good sign. It's a good deterrent if the people actually abide with that sign. They follow it, they respect that sign. This is a neighborhood crime watch. There's an existing program. If you come into our neighborhood, we will call if you become suspicious in nature.
Exactly.
Right? Now, when I made an example out of a stop signs, because that's exactly what a neighborhood watch signs is. The stop signs that we just blow through all day long. Criminals don't care. They really don't care. It doesn't bother them. Okay? Stuff's still happening. But what would really happen is, if you have an active participation and an active call, letting us know, let's say letting us know that this suspicious activity is happening, and you call it in. All right? So that's the classic example. If you started the month of August, and you started strong, and you started calling in for everything that you could possibly think of that is very suspicious to you. Only you can articulate it. And we show up. The deputy investigates it. Incident didn't happen. So it's going to come up to our stats. It's going to be a suspicious call. If that number goes up tremendously, tremendously, in 1 month, if you made 200 calls, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Crying wolf, not good.
Is that a good? So you're saying it's a bad thing?
Oh, well, it can be.
It can be. But you know what? In our world of crime prevention, if that stats goes up, what do? We're bringing in law enforcement into your community, aren't you?
Yeah.
That is a good thing, folks. It really is. It really is. That's a good thing. That number goes up. That means you're doing your job, and the program says that. We are entirely in the world of what? Social media. Burglars, thieves. People that are out there looking to harm others or trying to steal from us, from you. They're going to know. These grandmen don't even think about going there. You're going to get your you-know-what get caught. Because people are calling it in. And that's why it's no longer a crime wall. It is actually a good thing because now people get to know Heritage Green is well and active with the neighborhood watch and looking out for each other. You're not only looking out for property crimes, but also you're looking out for your neighbors. It is not a no. I mean, this is not a mystery. When you have a 55 and up, you have some medical issues, don't we? I know. I'm getting there. That's right. Not only you're looking out for property crimes, but you're looking out for your neighbors. Can you imagine if you haven't heard 2-3 days from your neighbors who happens to be quite a bit all the time always want to chat with you, always have a fun conversation, always want to meet up in between your courtyard or your yard, this and that. And next, 3 days later, you haven't heard from that person and said, this is unusual. Let me find out. That's the benefit of Neighborhood Watch. That's why I don't like attaching Neighborhood Crime Watch. We're not just looking out for crime, we're looking out for your well-being as well. Okay? I have stories in my neighborhood. When I used to be the president of our HOA, I survived that for 10 years. I got to know all my neighbors, and I know some of them have medical issues. And I've had instances where my neighbor, somewhere along the line, I'll see him driving and stop. And I was like, well, why did he stop? And I know he's got medical issues. So I've given him about 10 minutes, see what's going on. The car hasn't moved. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be nosy. I went up there. I said, Gene! I said, how's Gerard? How you doing? I'm just checking on you. Why did you stop? Oh, I'm just trying to make a phone call. I couldn't find my daughter's phone number. Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Because I knew, and he told me that he has some medical concerns, right? Medical issues. I just didn't, I want to know. I want to be on the lookout for him, just in case if he needs medical attention, I can call the EMS, right? That's one possible example. Anybody have questions here? I'm sorry. No? Okay. Am I moving so fast? I mean, am I speaking clearly? Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I'm not talking too fast. Because when I get nervous, I talk too fast sometimes. 3D principles of the program. Let me see here. Deterrence, delay, and detection. Deterrence because, example of having a sign, it's a deterrent, right?
Right.
Okay, having a burglary alarm system, it's a deterrent, right? It's a sign, right? Okay.
Yes.
So that's what the principle of that is. You have a well thought, designed security, home security, implemented on your property, and so you put up the sign and you're letting other people that, hey, I have an alarm system. It works. Okay. That's a good deterrent. Delay. What does it do? If a burglary happens, or an attempt to commit burglary on your property has happened or is happening, you can delay that progress. Your neighbor can be calling, oh my goodness, I think my neighbor's house has been burglarized. I don't know whose car is that? Okay? The person just came out on the side of the property. You call 911. Hey, I believe I have I have a burglary in progress here. Okay? A burglary is breaking. A robbery is like putting a gun up at gunpoint to you and robbing you with your money, your wallet, credit card, or whatnot. Totally different. A burglary is simply just breaking in. Okay? So when you said breaking into your home, that's exactly a burglary. If you are like, sneak up, hey, give me your wallet, the money, your purse, that's a robbery. Huge difference, folks. So a delay is that you have an alarm system. You have a better lock on your doors. Okay? That cannot be easily defeated by professional thieves. Okay? So that's a delay strategy. Detection, that's also part of your alarm system. And nosy neighbors. Okay? So those are the three principles. Basic communication network basically starts from you folks. You doing your work yard, you're having a chat with your neighbors, having coffee in your back patio, drinking your tea or coffee, chit-chatting, or, visiting with your neighbors, talking to your contractor while you're out there, you're just, being nosy, this and that, you're looking out, making sure that that's normal. I don't think that's normal. Who might that be? I don't remember. Joanne told me about somebody coming in with a HVAC unit. Let me call. You see what I'm saying? You're detecting it. Okay? You're detecting it. The communication starts with you folks. The residents are the participants. Now, my suggestion, folks, is you know where it says residents first, right? And then it goes to block captains. Folks, really, in reality, we want you to call the non-emergency number or 911 first before you start talking to your block captains. That's what we want you to do. This is just your regular communication network. It's not part of your emergency communication protocol. Make sense? So the difference is, this is your regular business model, your protocol, how you communicate with all of us involved. But in a real emergency or suspicious situation, you bypass block captains. You go ahead and call the police immediately, and then later on, you can talk to your block captains and give them some details. And then your block captains can turn around and share that information to all your residents. Now they're receiving a true information, and it's not just hearsay from someone, from another neighborhood. So far, so good? Okay? Now, this is an addition to our neighborhood watch, and this is an option, folks. We offered a residential risk assessment where we can assess your current security system, your security implementation, whatever you have. I can assess this and I can tell you if it's actually effective or not. I'll give you an example without boring you to a bunch of information. I'll give you an example, kind of like a quiz, right? Do you think a motion sensor is a good motion detection device?
Yes.
It is? Okay. Everybody believes that? Motion sensors? Okay. It's a good device. Okay. All right. Do you have one in your master bath? No. She said no. That's legitimate. That's 90% of the time. Most residential homes that are built for the last 3 decades or longer don't have a built-in motion sensors or any kind of alarm system in the master bath area. Where do you think most burglars happens? Front door? Back door? Or is it in your master bedroom? Bath or master bedroom? It happens either master bath or master bedroom area. They already know where all the valuables are. It's not going to be in your kitchen for sure, right? So motion sensor, it's good to have that, but we prefer in our world of crime prevention practitioners, they would say, well, we really want you to have an immediate detection device implemented rather than having a secondary. A good example of that is the motion sensor. If they breach your nice, beautiful window flare on your master bath, they break in, no glass break, they're in. They don't have to go anywhere around your house anymore. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you had a glass break sensor, the moment they smash that glass, it'll trigger your alarm, and having an audible siren that is actually much louder than an interior siren, it will create an alarming situation to the burglars. Now your neighbors will hear it, and their nosy nature will get triggered, and then they're going to want to know what's happening. You see, your motion sensor becomes secondary. It's not a bad thing. But if I talk to you about assessing your home, we'll talk about based on what you have, and I can give you some pointers why I say this, because it's been proven that if you have a good lock an extra lock on your windows, you've already stopped the burglar at 80%. More so, more or less. A very good lock, an extra lock on your window, and also implementing your alarm system correctly will actually help increase the effective measures that you've already implemented. Okay? That's part of the residential risk assessment. It's free, folks. It's not going to cost you a dime. You just call me, invite me over. I will come over and talk to you about it. Now, Operation ID, most of you may not be familiar with that, but all of this is just marking your items that you care about. Maybe a laptop, your iPhone, your jewelry. You can mark it, but what you can do is actually photograph it and save some of those, save that files, upload it on a cloud. So if anything comes up missing, you're not just telling us, well, it's gold and it's got the diamond in the middle about this size, and we're going to look at you. Good luck. It's about this big, and we don't even call it gold. We have to say it's yellow. It is. Unless you provide us some pictures of what it looks like, then that's our evidence. Okay? That's why it's important to have a photo operation identification also going on. You can create a specific, very unique identifier and use that as your tag. You can use it by, what do you call those, engraver? You can go to Morgan's or Home Depot and get an engraver, or what do you call it, Tractor Supply? No, not Tractor Supply. Harbor Freight. Get a cheap engraver, and they just mark it with unique identifier and start marking it on your valuable items. If you have important papers, lock it up real good, either at the bank, safety deposit, what do you call that, lockbox at the bank. If you don't have that access, if you have a safe, a big, nice safe, use that. Okay? And whatever you do not share your combination. Okay? So, that's one of the Operation ID. Okay. Any questions so far? Yes?
Do you consider, we have a lot of unwanted
Yeah, there you
that come to the door?
Soliciting?
A lot.
Okay.
So do you consider that a non-emergency call?
Yeah.
Okay, because we
Wait.
get a lot.
So, it doesn't really help when you have a gate wide open. So that is something that,
Can I ask you a question?
that, ma'am?
One of the biggest deterrents would be if we start closing the gates. It would also help along with being vigilant about your neighbors and everything, but we've got one of the best deterrents is a gate. To keep that gate closed, it would help with a lot of different things.
Right. It helps the situation having that gate closed. And, once again, I just got here. I don't know the situation. All right. But that would help a great deal if you have a gate closed and you have the, security way of, there's a protocol where you can actually identify who they are, who's coming in, who's visiting, who they're visiting with. In fact, there's a multi-million-dollar home over in Richmond that had like maybe 20 houses. These are huge homes. And 2 years ago, they were a victim of 3 major burglary, 2 situations where 2 bad guys where they had their AR-15 in a multi-million-dollar gated community. And when I assessed the whole community, I said, and the camera surveillance caught where they came from, how they got in, and I said why they got in. Okay, but their gate they did their job at the front. The burglars did not come into the front gate. They had access elsewhere. When I visited the site, I was able to pinpoint why they were able to access the back portion of the property. All it was is that they have an iron fence, low enough to where a very fit individual can hop over and access the whole community. It's backed up to a bayou. Okay? And the first home they saw happens to be vacant because that was actually a second home by the homeowner who lives permanently, full-time in Florida. Okay? So, it's just one of those situations. Now, having a gated community, it helps if it's locked, okay? It's been a while since I've been in this area, and I really don't know what's going on with your gate, but that is something that you can start a conversation with your property management, okay? If you already have your own HOA, that's who you address with. Okay, the property management company, they just have to listen to what the HOA would have to say about that, and then they will follow through based on the protocol that HOA wants to do. Yes?
Our gates are closed after 7 p.m. and they open at 7 a.m.
Okay.
We feel like that is a deterrent.
That's better. That's what the consensus says. They prefer it that way.
That's what our HOA decided.
Okay. So, like I said, you're going to have a different opinion from everybody here, folks. Okay, so if that is the consensus from the community, having a gate from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Accessible because it's easy access for the residents. That's for convenience, correct? But security comes with inconvenience. I hate to say that. Yes. Okay. Okay. That's true. It could be it's money also, right? All right. Okay, I get that. Okay, but the main thing though. Okay, so if you guys decided to pursue this program, what we would like to see is really address what we could do now. And I'll guarantee 80% of the time, you already have a block captains. All you have to do is just follow the simple structure of what Neighborhood Watch set forth. Okay, I can walk you through that step, a little bit of build up, and there you are, full course. You're moving forward head on. Okay, you're already established the main thing. The next thing is, okay, we need to have a safety committee. If you want to do that, or if you want to have section coordinators and then safety committee, that's perfect. We established that. We have a safety committee. Now, if you want neighborhood watch signs, it's debatable. Me personally, who's been working with this program, don't care much about neighborhood watch sign because I really think that is like a stop sign that nobody cares about. What matters is what you do as a community member. That's what makes a difference. Sorry, I'm going to go bigger than I'm going to. Go ahead now.
What about cameras at the gates and a sign that says monitored by camera or whatever?
A sign of what?
A sign that tells it's being monitored by camera and a camera monitoring those gates.
Do you have a surveillance system here?
We do not.
We do not. Okay. Well, your home can actually say that. This residence is monitored. If you want to have a sign just like that, this home is protected by, who knows, ADT, whatever, Xfinity, Infinity, whatever company. It's the same concept. Yes, that helps. Remember, it is the 3Ds, okay? Right? So it's a deterrent, number one, having signs, and also you have to have what? Actual implementation of it in order to create delay.
I feel like, though, if someone's home was broken into, that'd be the first place they could go to maybe see who did it.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a sign on the front gate, yes. I mean, that's fine, okay? But, you know what? The burglars don't care. That's just the reality of it. It's just a reality of it. They don't care about the sign. They will do it if they're determined. Yeah, somebody had their hands up here. Yes, ma'am.
So you said you do individual evaluation
Okay.
of properties. So can you do a neighborhood evaluation?
I can do that. I can do that.
Suggestions for the
Okay. When you do a community evaluation, which I've done that in the past to begin with, it does take time because it requires different day of time. What kind of traffic do we get throughout the day, especially nighttime, that kind of thing? What kind of lighting do we have in the community? And what type of barrier that actually kind of secure the whole boundaries of your community? All right, so that's what's all entails. Now, it could be officially done. If it's officially done, that means it's going to be a formal documentation that the sheriff's office has done an active assessment of your property. Therefore, this is an official document. If an insurance company, which I know HOA does have an HOA representation by a legal team, correct? All right. And something happens, and none of that stuff, that recommendation did not get followed, what do you think is going to happen?
Insurance,
It's a double-edged sword.
insurance ain't gonna pay.
I can do it informal, which means basically any of your HOA representative would do a walkthrough with me, having a conversation. I'll see this as, all right, take a note if you want to, but it's not going to be an official. It's more of a, oh yeah, I see that, here's what I think about that, and move on. No documentation required of that. That's one way to do it. But I know I have three neighborhoods actually. I did that, and it was an official documentation. Okay, but I'm letting you know, if that comes up and it was never implemented, yeah. I'm sorry, does somebody was, yes ma'am, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we understood her question completely. What about just cameras in the gates? Would that be a deterrent? Not just the signs?
A camera system with monitoring company? Of course it does help. It's identifying who's coming in and out. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that could be a deterrent that will document the access, the egress and egress. Okay, that's a good thing. Somebody had a question. Yes.
Yeah, I just actually, we look at clock, is that what you asked?
No, generally speaking, this is just talking about camera, yeah.
A lot of controversy about clock.
Yes.
So that's a question. Second question is, if you happen to look at the statistics of this community, I've been here 19 years, and I think we've been pretty safe. I'm just curious.
Yeah, so what I can do is I'm going to request a formal request of crime statistics of Heritage Strand, and I will submit it to Jennifer, and she'll share that with you all. Just give me some time to get that process. You have a question? Okay, yes, sir.
What hours of the day do most burglaries occur?
Okay. Oh, there won't be any comparison. I don't think they ever conducted a formal study whether if it's a gated community when it was basically what the FBI statistics would actually show that. They already have a study about that. On a gated community, what they were saying is that it gives, generally speaking, it's good to have a gated community because it gives you that hope and sense of security. But in reality, okay, you still have to access the community. And I know for a fact that some of those folks, they just follow somebody behind them, okay, and they never get documented. So I hope that makes it safe. It doesn't make it safe either. But would it reduce some? It does. But it doesn't entirely filter who's supposed to be here or not. Make sense? So a gated community is good for people who believe that their community is safe and that other elements are being filtered. Only if the gate is literally shut the whole time and someone is actually checking in and out. Okay, that will reduce a great deal. It doesn't change the fact that no matter what we would do, there's always a small percentage that a community could still be broken into. Number one, y'all have contractors going into your neighborhood, correct? They already have access to it, correct? So what makes you think they know? All they got to do is what? Probably. I'm not saying that they do this. They've already notified their friends. Okay? What is the weakest point of the community to get in? Right now, the obvious answer is between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. What is the obvious? That's right there. Yes.
I think this is a question that many of us probably think about. What is your opinion of firearms protection in a house?
Okay. So personal safety, the gentleman over here asked me, what about firearm as a personal protection? Well, this is the state of Texas, constitutional carry. You do have the right to protect your home, your family, more so your family. And once again, your family is far more important than your property. It is up to you as a homeowner whether you choose to go that route or not. I don't have an opinion to it. It's just going to be what you prefer as a couple who lives in your community. I truly believe you can do that without any problem. There's no issue about owning a firearm, a rifle, some sort of a defense, personal defense item, in your home. All right? But the main thing is, when do you become a victim? Okay? When you ask yourself, when do you become vulnerable? Okay? Tell you what, when you become vulnerable, the moment you leave your home by yourself late in the evening to go grocery shopping, you become vulnerable. When you go out and about to go to a bank without you being self-aware, you're not looking out, you're not being extra, what do you call that? What's the word? Vigilant. You're not being vigilant around your surroundings. Do you become vulnerable? That's when you become the most susceptible. That's the most susceptible moment where you become a victim of some sort. Your property becomes a victim of some sort as well. Okay? Because if your neighbor knows, Tanya just left 30 minutes ago and left the garage wide open, and you left it alone, somebody's home, I don't think, and you never bothered to care and check. There you go, you become a victim. Potentially. But if you notice, as I said, hey girl, what's going on? You home? Oh no dear, I'm just running up to the grocery store over here for a few moments. Did you intentionally left your garage wide open? Oh no. When I patrol the neighborhood in Delaware, every time I see a garage wide open, I get out of my car and I just say, did you intentionally left your garage wide open? Are you working somewhere in your garage on your own? I said, no. Well, I know, man, I left this morning and I unloaded stuff. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Okay? So, that's just one of those things. What really matters is when you see something, go ahead and initiate something on your part out of kindness, knowing that this would help the situation. Takes a phone call. All that it is a phone call. Being nosy. That's the key. Long time ago, my dad was trying to sell his house when it was the housing market was tough. And we had to leave the house because he's moving in with me. And we left this house unattended for 7 months before it got sold. And you know what saved my dad's property for being vandalized? Because I have 3 nosy neighbors. They call me about it all the time. Don't worry, Gerard, we already called the sheriff's office. They're on their way. I just want to let you know that. Because I was in good term with them. And I appreciated it very much. Without any further ado, remember this, the police are the public and the public are the police. The police being only members of the public who are paid to give full-time attention to duties which are incumbent on every citizen in the interest of community welfare and existence. I did not make that up. That was Sir Robert Peel, happens to be the father of law enforcement. Once again, thank you for this time. I know you have, this is pretty much all the time I have. Yes, Ms. Owens?
Quick question.
Yes.
So if our board were to decide
Okay.
to participate in this program.
Which program? Neighborhood Watch?
Neighborhood Watch,
Okay.
if they were to, would calls be responded to quicker if we're on the program? Not that we don't get great response, but would they be quicker because we're on the list for Neighborhood Watch? And second part of that question, if we were on this program, would a sheriff frequently cruise our neighborhood?
Very good questions. Inherently, because we encourage you to call for just about any suspicious activities, our duty is to respond and investigate. The more calls we get from you, it brings us in. You know, when we're here, might as well go around and drive the whole neighborhood. And in my job, okay, I'll work with you closely. In fact, like I've been doing with Del Webb, I go visit out in the community for a couple of hours in the morning. Sometimes in the evening, I drive around, say hello to everybody that I know of. They see me, police presence is the key. Yes, it draws law enforcement into your community.
It does.
If that answers your questions. The key to this program is proactive, not so much of reactive. Keep that in mind. Being proactive means you call us in for any suspicious activity. That's the key. Being proactive is the key. Yes, sir.
Sorry, who do we contact for the individual evaluation?
You'll contact the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Yes, the non-emergency number. Not me per se, because okay, I'm the program coordinator, but here's what I can do for you. Once we get rolling, I'll visit with you guys. I'll come by here with Jennifer, see what's going on here. I'll drive around, say hello to everybody, this and that. We'll make it happen. All right?
Can you give the non-emergency number again?
The non-emergency number?
Yes.
281-341-4665. 281-341-4665. Yes, sir.
Question.
Yes.
I had a thought a while back that I haven't seen this, and maybe with your experience. We pretty well know a lot of our neighbors here.
Yeah.
And okay, the stats are probably going to show low, but I see one way of improvement is every vehicle that is owned in this neighborhood has a small Heritage Grant sticker. Because I've seen vehicles on my street before, and I've questioned who that is. I don't recognize the vehicle.
Yeah.
But if I was to see that sticker, I would know they live here. If
Okay.
I didn't see that sticker, that would give me a more high chance of because I see something that where there's not one.
That is a valid point. Having a community sticker, which in the past has been implemented throughout the neighborhood, but also we had at one point in time, okay, it's a double-edged sword, believe it or not. What he was saying is having a sticker exclusive for your community members, posted on your vehicle as a membership, right? That kind of thing. Well, if they want to target you, they're going to know exactly what that symbol looks like, or where do you live. Okay, so it's a double-edged sword. It's a good thing, but also it's a double-edged sword. That's two ways to look at it. Okay, it's an exclusive membership. That means that's where you live. Oh, I know where I live. You know what? The particular approach can actually there's a potentially could be used against you. Remember I don't know if y'all are aware. Do we have anybody like Asians from India stuff who lives out here in the Indian community? Well, they were targeted for a while. What they do is they go to restaurants as a family, and they've been followed. Somebody's casing their home, and then they'll notify their counterpartner follow the family where they go, and their counterpart will be burglarizing their home. Okay, so it's not a what it is. It's a double-edged sword, but it's a good approach. It's just having it helps identify easier for you to identify who lives out here or not. Because I know those stickers would only be accessible through your HOA. Okay, I hope it didn't. If that makes sense to you.
No,
Yes.
I said the same thing to White here. Now, if I was at HEB and somebody saw that sticker, they know where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I bring up the question. Is that a good or not? I mean, I see it if you're in the neighborhood, but if you're out of the neighborhood, I can see it as a.
It is good and bad. That's why I said it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
Yeah. So if you notice, hardly anybody doing that anymore. Have you seen anybody doing that anymore, especially in Katy? Yeah. Yes, sir.
I just want to say that I know several neighborhoods. You guys do a stellar job, and hats off to you. We appreciate the support you give us and for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. All right. That's pretty much the end of the whole presentation. So I'll be standing by if you have any personal questions you want to ask me about this program. You don't want to broadcast to anybody. I'll hang around for a few more minutes.